Hey everybody, my name is Deja and welcome back to my channel. Today I am starting an extreme horror reading vlog. So I'm really excited for this reading vlog. I'm actually going to be like mood reading through it, and I'm also participating in the Escape the Readathon right now. And for our first prompt, it just happened to fit with an extreme horror book that I had, so you guys will kind of be following me along with that as well, as long as I can fit the books into the prompts. And so yeah, as I said, I'm going to be mostly like mood reading. I don't have a set TBR, and so I will try and like pop in a thing with like what each book next is going to be, but I definitely have a couple books in mind, but I'm just going to keep them to myself because unless they fit with the prompts for the readathon, then I think we're getting like 5 prompts throughout the readathon, so like the average is like 1 a week. We just got our first one today and it is the 3rd day of the month, so we had 2 days where we could just mood read. So I will definitely be mood reading and reading the other books on my TBR. So for the Escape the Readathon, I'm on the team The Vacationers, and our first 2 prompts were to either read a book that the colors on the cover match one of the host's thumbnails, and it could be any thumbnail from their channel, or to read a book that's mostly your favorite color on the cover. And so we kind of have to decide which one we're going to focus on, or if we're going to split it, or how we're going to do that for the team, because we don't know which prompt is going to unlock the door. But I'm actually reading the prompt, read a cover that's mostly your favorite color. So for that, I'm going with Exquisite Corpse, because to me this is like a very blue purple, but it's still purple, and purple is my favorite color. So it has here on the side, and then green is like tied for second. Not this shade of green at all, like this shade of green is my favorite, but it's still green. So I feel like this was like purple and green are like my favorites, so this definitely fits for it. And I got a bookmark tassel that I feel like matches pretty well. So Exquisite Corpse, I kind of just knew that this was about some serial killers that are into necrophilia, so that's interesting, which is true. It is about serial killers that are into necrophilia, and right now we've only met one serial killer. His name is Andrew Compton, and it said through like the, let me get my information correct. Yeah, between 1977 and 1988, he killed like 23 boys in London, and so he's currently in prison, obviously like a class A offender because he is a very dangerous serial killer, but he is trying to plan his escape. Basically, he's going to fake his death because he has learned how to like pause his breathing and his heart rate so much that it seems like he's dead, but he's alive. So he's going to pause it, and he doesn't actually like want to escape. I don't think his original plan is he's starting to get intrigued by dead bodies and kind of wants to, you know, interact with them. So he's trying to like get himself sent to the morgue so he can like interact with the dead bodies. But then I obviously think that he escapes, and I know that he goes to America and he joins up with somebody else, and they're serial killers and they're gay, and this also takes place during the AIDS epidemic, and so he actually has HIV. We actually do love representation for that. But I will say I'm only 20 pages in, but I'm really liking it.
I don't know what that says about me,
but I'm really liking the writing. It's very graphic but also lyrical at the same time. I don't know how else I would put that. And I also wanted to say, I think that the author goes by a different name now, so I want to make sure that I'm not misgendering them or anything. So let me do my research really quick and I'll be back. Okay, my bad. They now go by Billy, so I'm going to be calling the author Billy throughout the rest of this video. Their name is now Billy Martin, but I believe that Poppy C. Bright is their pen name. Like, they write under Poppy C. Bright, which is their old name, but they actually go by Billy. So I'm going to call them Billy just in case throughout this video. But yeah, I'm actually really liking the writing, which is surprising because it is very graphic and depraved. I'm getting good vibes from this book. Like, I think I'm gonna like it, even though it's a very divisive book. I know some people love it, some people hate it, some people just think it's okay, some people don't even know how to rate this, but I'm really liking it so far, and I'm hoping to try and finish this up today. I have a lot of driving to do today later, so I feel like I'll be able to get through a good portion of this. I do have the audiobook. I made sure to get the audiobook because I want to finish this as quick as possible for my team to see if we unlock the door. You see what I'm saying? So I need the audiobook to help me when I'm driving. I'll probably be driving for almost like an hour and a half today, which is like over half of this book. So yeah, let's go on a little drive.
Just be. Don't take it. Taking, just don't be. And live my life. Don't take it personal. I ain't lying. I ain't hiding. I've been grinding, multiplying. I've been
Hello friends, I'm back, and as you can see, I'm sitting in the living room of my apartment, which I try to do at least once in my vlog, but over the next couple of days, y'all probably see me out here because my roommates, 2 of them, actually left for the semester. They are gone, so it's just me and my one other roommate. She's staying over here for the summer, so she is still gonna be in this apartment longer than me. Today's Thursday and I leave on Sunday. And honestly, I'm actually a little sad about it. Those 2 girls, one of them I've known since like sophomore year of high school, and I've always said this, that I love them as friends but not as roommates, and that's true. But they're living off campus next semester, and some people, when they live off campus, they're not like on camp that much. Like they come to camp for class and then they leave, and I feel like that's like what they're going to be doing next year. So I feel like I won't see them as much or hang out with them as much, which makes me a little sad, even though living with them was not like super fun and fresh for me overall. I feel like I'm super far away. I zoomed in the camera a little bit because I was really far away, but yeah, so I'm a little sad about it, but I'm happy to be moving on to the next chapter of my life. I feel like every year of college is like a different chapter for me, and I'm just also kind of sad because school's halfway over. Like college, I'm literally about to cry because my college experience is literally like halfway over, and like I literally love college so much. Like I literally have been dreaming, like when I was a kid I dreamed of high school and college, and like it's halfway over. Even if I go to grad school, like it's not college. So like it's making me appreciate how much I've been through. Like this year was really like I truly had the college experience. If you're not on my Instagram stories or on my close friends, you did not see how much like of a college experience I had. Like I'm truly like living the college experience, and I love that. But it's also making me want to take advantage of my time here. I was gonna literally graduate early, but I decided against it because I just want to really live in this college experience, because I'm never ever going to get this experience back ever again. So yeah, I'm just a little emotional about it. But also I went to the used bookstore and picked up some books for like basically getting through the semester. I think I have 3 A+ this semester, and then an A and then an A-, and then one class I took sat, which means it's just for like the credit. It won't impact my GPA. So I found Sleeping Giants, which I know is a sci-fi, and I don't know anything about this, but I've had an interest in it since like for years really. And then I got A Discovery of Witches, which I also don't know what this is about, but I've been seeing it go around again a lot on BookTube, so I want to read it. And then I also got Kin by Keelan Patrick Burke. I haven't read a Keelan Patrick Burke, but this was the only horror that I saw that they had there that I was interested in, because I'm interested in this author. I've heard such good things about him. And then we also have these things called pack rats that are out right now, because we're like the wolf pack, my school. And so the pack rats are these things that they put out where the people can donate whatever they want to the pack rat that they don't want at the end of the semester. They just put them out, and you can throw whatever you want in there. And we have 3 by this apartment complex. So I went to 1 today because everybody's moved out, so they're like full. And I actually found a Swiffer. It's not a wet jet Swiffer, but it is a Swiffer, and I wanted one for my room because at my house we only have like a big mop, and I don't have a bathtub in my room, so I would have to literally fill it up with water and drag it all the way upstairs, and I don't want to mess with that. So I picked that up. And then also we needed a utensil holder, so I got us a utensil holder. This one's nice and bamboo. It has a little dent in it, but we're gonna clean her up. She definitely has some hair in her, but I wanted to show y'all first. But we're gonna clean her up as usual. But we needed one because our roommate who left, the utensil holder that we had was hers. We also found a dish rack, like a drying rack, the other day, which we needed as well because it was hers again. And then I found this really cute coat. It's a little large, but I feel like it'll be cute. This is so cute. It's extra large from Forever 21, and I love it. So I don't know why someone gave rid of that. Of course I'm going to watch that as well. And then I found Mouse Volume 1 and 2. I've read Volume 1, so I picked up Volumes 1 and 2. So yeah, this was in the pack rat. This wasn't even at the used bookstore. That was in the pack rat. They literally had textbooks in there. I was like, you're just donating textbooks. You could sell those. So much of that stuff in there they could sell. Like the clothes, especially. But anyways, now getting on to Exquisite Corpse. I am only 54 pages in. I'm on chapter 4. I was gonna get further into this yesterday, but I'm really liking the writing a lot, so I wanted to like be able to listen to it more or like read it with my eyes and not just listen to it while I'm driving. But what I didn't know is we're actually, this is told in third person, but we are like getting the perspective. Like we're following Andrew Compton, who is the killer who's escaping from the prison, and then we follow Jay Byrne, who is in New Orleans, and they're gonna meet up, but they haven't met up yet. So we also follow a young Vietnamese American runaway who I think is trans or like gay, at least. I think they were cross-dressing, so that's how they got kicked out of their house. So they're like a runaway. And so we're following them because it says that Compton and Byrne, set their sights on him, because they deem him the perfect victim. So we follow him as well, but nobody's met up yet. So, Jay Byrne does know Tran, I believe, though. I was listening to this yesterday in the car. So, yeah, I'm really liking the writing. Nothing too crazy has happened yet. So I'm waiting. And I'm probably going to listen to that later today. I'm hoping to get a good way of the portion through it, if not finish it today, because of the readathon. I want to like help my team. So I'm going to work on that today, but not right now because I kind of want to relax. I had to do some RA stuff where basically the building, we have to go through every single room and make sure the people that are gone and they didn't leave anything. So we had to do that this morning, which took like total with everything I had to do. It took like 2.5 hours, and I'm super tired because I woke up early this morning to get paint because me and my roommate, the command strips, ripped the paint off the wall. So I was like, I'm not paying for this. So I got us some paint so we could paint it, but I wanted to do it before we went and checked our rooms. You know what I'm saying? So, we checked their 2 rooms who left. So I wanted to do that first. And so I was super tired afterwards, and I was going to take a nap, but I couldn't fall asleep. So I went and I got this Alani Nu energy drink. And I drink Alani Nu, but I've never seen this peach one. And it's like different packaging than they usually have, like the style, art, and design. And I love peach energy drinks from any brand because I feel like they taste the least like energy drinks. And the thing that's dangerous about Alani Nu is because they're so like small, but they have the same amount of caffeine, you drink them so quick. Like I've drunk over half of this and it hasn't even been like an hour. So I'm a little concerned, but I'm definitely awake now. And I'm actually working on a puzzle. I don't know if y'all can see. It's one from the Dollar Tree, but I just wanted to try this one to get back into puzzling because it's a small 100-piece puzzle. So I'm going to work on this one, and then maybe I'll work on a puzzle later, but I'm going to watch some like YouTube or something while I work on this and just relax. Me and my therapist were talking yesterday about how this semester, I don't know what it is, but this semester has really made it for me where I cannot relax. Every moment of every day, I feel like I'm doing something, like because I think I had like all my classes and I had like 4 jobs at the same time. I was either working on stuff for class or working on stuff for my remote job or doing RA stuff or actually working at Target or editing a video, filming a video, reading for a video. I was always doing something. So I'm trying to like not do that. That's why I don't really want to listen to the book right now because I just want to like mindlessly watch something and do a little puzzle, okay? I've been talking for a while, but I wanted to fill this reading vlog up with a little bit more content. So I'll probably come back to y'all when I get pretty far into this book because I don't want this reading vlog to be like 20 hours, but I want it to be a little lengthier.
A little growthy, one might say.
But yeah, so I'm going to work on my puzzle and I will talk to y'all later.
Taking time away. You always posting up pictures, trying to look like you winning. I'm writing rhymes in the kitchen, soaking in moments we live in, yeah. You got the nerve to be on me, faking your life for the IG. If you got my number, don't add me, cause baby, I'm on hiatus. I'm on hiatus. I'm on hiatus. I'm on hiatus.
Hello, I haven't updated y'all in a while. Sorry my lips look hella greasy. This is my favorite chapstick and I lost it. So I went to the store to buy new ones. They sell them at my beauty supply but also at Dollar Tree. It's the Vaseline Lip Therapy. This saved my lips from eczema. Yeah. Anyways, I'm over halfway done with Exquisite Corpse. I've listened to 5 hours and I have 3 hours left. And I'm halfway through chapter 9, and this book has actually gone downhill for me, and not in the reasons that y'all would think. The way that these people think is very disturbing. I will say this book definitely fits into this video, but it's not anything like crazy. And then also, well, as I said, I've listened to 5 hours. 5 hours and 13 minutes, and I have 3 hours and 20 minutes left. So I'm almost 2/3 of the way into this book. I'm about 61% in. and nothing has happened. This book is so boring. Like, bro, like, I'm bored as hell. Like, the only interesting thing is that they think very disgusting thoughts. I really still enjoy the writing. I feel like it's very graphic but almost lyrical, not in like an Eric LaRocca lyrical type way, just kind of more like prose like. But it is still very graphic, and their thoughts are very graphic. So the only thing that's happened is Jay, I think his name is, yeah, Jay has had Tran come up to him and basically be like, can I stay with you? And he says yes, so he ends up actually not killing Tran, but him and Tran interact. And now, just now, like as I stopped the audiobook to record this for y'all, 2/3 of the way in is when Jay and Andrew meet. We haven't even gotten through the synopsis. And I'm 2/3 of the way in. I'm bored. I wouldn't say this is a bad book. Right now, it's probably sitting at like a 2.53 star for me because it's so boring. And then also in this, we have Rush Limbaugh, and Rush Limbaugh is actually Tran's ex. And in this, like, he uses Rush Limbaugh, and that's his alternate name. And in this, it's kind of reversed because like Rush Limbaugh in real life, you know, is a very conservative man, and he like thinks that people who have HIV deserve to have HIV. So the commentary in this is that Rush Limbaugh is the reverse and believes that about people who have children, that we shouldn't have to give tax dollars for people who have children or anything related to research for mothers or any like childbirth givers at all, and that he is in support of people who have HIV, and he also has HIV. And that's a choice that I don't know if I like. And I don't know if Billy or Poppy C. Bright is Asian, but there's a lot of like Asian fetishization in this book, specifically around Tran. Another thing that's making me uncomfortable is like this ties in a lot of sexual things with a lot of like gross things, which is making me uncomfortable, but that's like the point. The fetishization, not a fan. No, I'm not hating it. I'm just very bored, but I do like the writing. I like the thoughts, but also being in the head of men for this entire book is really starting to grate on me. You know a TikTok sound that's like, I'm just doing whatever, and then all of a sudden I hear that grating sound. That's what this is doing. So we'll see. I'm hoping that this last little chunk will be more big bang and this will actually be interesting, but we'll see. So I'm gonna get back to packing, because I actually just took down my collage wall. This whole entire wall used to be pictures, like literally from ceiling to below this, like around here was all pictures, from here to the closet. And it's just very strange because I just took it down and it looks so bare and empty and weird in here. And I had a collage wall in my room last year as well, and I've been packing up hella stuff today, which is why I've been able to get through the audiobook. And I'm hoping to finish it today. I only have like, what, an hour and a bit left. I'm not a DNFer. I need to see it through, but I'm not having a great time. You know? And Deja coming at you in her bonnet. I know y'all love to see it. I'm actually, when I have braids, I'm a double bonnet wearer because this one makes me look like a nun, and I don't like that. But I did want to mention, I'm not doing like a full update because I haven't gotten that much farther. I'm almost done, but I want to just come back when I completely wrap it up. But I forgot to mention earlier that I am really liking the commentary on the AIDS epidemic and how that's impacting people during this time, and there's a lot of commentary related to it, and I think that's kind of like the main point of this story. And also, I don't know if earlier I mentioned that the Asian fetishization is making me uncomfy, but mique brought up a good point, because I believe this is one of his favorite books, about how the author added in this character to kind of discuss the familial rejection that is oftentimes in Asian cultures. And he grew up in Asia, or lives in Asia, mique does, and he is gay, so he can talk a lot about that topic. So I do want to discuss those 2 points, which I'll probably talk about way more in the end. But the main reason I was coming back to y'all is because I really want to try these poppy sodas. I got two flavors, but I just got one of them here. It's called, this one's raspberry rose. I'm scared because I love raspberry, hate rose. I do have raspberry syrup from Starbucks, which I know like this is the whole point, is to like have sodas that are like good for you and don't have that much sugar. But if it needs a little extra raspberry, I'm gonna just add it in there, because I actually add the raspberry syrup into Coke Zero and it's delicious. People don't believe me, but it is. So I'm scared. And if I don't like this one, we'll try the other flavor. It's a prebiotic soda. It smells raspberry. I'm scared it's not going to be sweet at all. Hey, it's not terrible. It's not. There's a gnat. It's really not. It's not as flowery as I thought it was going to be, but it does kind of taste like kombucha, but like not like fermented. It just kind of has that, if you took away like the fermentedness of kombucha, that's what this gives. So the other flavor I have is strawberry lemon. See, the only thing with this is like it tastes like it's supposed to be healthy, and soda's not supposed to taste like it's healthy. You know what I'm saying? It's good. See, also to me, soda, even though I do add raspberry syrup into it, soda's not like fruity, except for like, I guess like Sprite and stuff, but that's like different. You know what I'm saying? This is raspberry. Like this is like sparkling juice, and they're just marketing it as soda. I'm gonna drink it, I think, but I don't think I would purchase it again with my own money. So if you hear the ambiance, it's because I'm on reading sprints with my patrons. So I ended up finishing Exquisite Corpse, and I gave it 3 stars. I liked a lot of the commentary that this book had on HIV and what it's like to be gay, and even what it's like to be gay in a Asian family or an Asian culture, and how that culture can impact being gay significantly, or even just a culture of people of color and how that really impacts them. I really loved the commentary, but the book was just very, very slow for me. I adored the writing. I thought it was super well written. Even like they would be cutting up a body and I'd be like, why does this sound so beautiful? And so I really enjoyed that, but as I said, it was just really slow and boring. I gave it basically a star for everything that I liked. I liked the commentary, I liked the writing, and I liked the ending. So I gave it 3 stars. That's really how I ended up rating it. I really did enjoy the ending as well. I felt like it was pretty satisfying. There are a lot of disturbing, gross things happen throughout this, but it wasn't as like disturbing as I thought it was gonna be. But I started 100% Match by Patrick C. Harrison III. I'm 25% of the way in, and this book is nasty. It almost made me gag because I'm not good with bodily fluids, and so in this we follow Bart, also known as Bartholomew, and he is this fry cook at this restaurant, and he is a kind of like obese, nasty man, and I am not saying he's nasty because he's obese. Like, he's obese and he's nasty because he does nasty things. He is just very interesting, but he wants to find his 100% match. He's a very sexual man, I will say. He talks about masturbation significantly and has masturbated into mayonnaise jars. So, you know, I guess whatever floats your boat, my guy. I don't know, but he's trying to find his 100% match, and he talks a lot about statistics about how women want this, how women want this, and how he matches up or does not match up to that. And I just made it to like the 2nd chapter. It's called Deborah, so we'll see what that's about. But he does work at like this restaurant, and he does like nasty things to the food. That's what my friend said, that this will like put you off of fast food, because like thinking about what the fry cooks do. I'll just give y'all an example. I'll give y'all 2 examples. One, he literally blew his nose, put it into a plastic bag, and then used it with mayonnaise as like secret sauce. Okay. 2, he found a roach underneath the fryers and put it into an old man's milkshake. Those are just examples. He's said a lot more, and he's very creepy, very disturbed. He thinks like doing all this, knowing all these statistics, is going to make it so women want him. No, babe, like, you're nasty. Like, you do nasty things. Like, your women are not going to want you. This is supposed to be extreme horror, and I know it's not like disturbing, like disturbing, but it's disturbing to me, because why are you messing with my food? You know what I'm saying? Why are you messing with my food like that? And so if you guys can't tell, I'm also back home. got my room back in order and I got a dresser. So I wanted to show y'all my dresser, and also I have a TV that we bought for my apartment. Well, we bought it for my apartment last year, and then we bought it for my roommates. Like, we paid them so we could take it for our apartment because we didn't have a TV, and they are getting provided a TV where they are living next semester. So we bought it from them, and my other roommate who's staying there over the summer, she didn't want to take it in case her new roommates broke it. So yeah, I have it, and I have a TV on the wall that I never ever use. So we're going to take it down when we paint, because I'm going to paint my room. So I'm trying to go for like a mid-century modern vibe. So this is the dresser and the TV and the other TV. And this is a smart TV, and I figured out how to cast onto this TV so I can watch all my bootleg movies and TV shows on here. And then I have this little corner right now that just has this little step stool that I bring to college and everything with me. And this little gold thing, the gold table, not a thing. That's going to be like my little book table, my backpack's back there, and then this lamp is a color changing lamp, but I have it on that so y'all could see me. This was actually over here, and this bookcase was where this dresser was. So now the bookcase is over here, and my bed is more like centered in the room, which is interesting for me because I've always kind of been like up against the wall, not like fully against the wall, but most of my time I've either been fully against the wall or pretty close to the wall. So this is really interesting. This is like, I guess you could call it like my witchy area. I don't really think of it like that. My spiritual area. And I have my puzzles here as well. But there's that. And I love this diffuser. I've had it for forever. But I didn't know it had colors on it. And I never use it. And I love it as like a little night light. And I do have this salt lamp as well. But the light broke, so I need to get a new light. But my room's coming together. I'm going to be sanding this dresser and making it wood toned like the other ones. And then I'm getting a new vanity because this one's like really falling apart. And I used to be way into makeup, and I'm not that much into makeup anymore, so I don't need this much space. So I'm going to be getting a more mid-century modern dresser that should be coming in the next couple of days. And if I get it and put it together before this vlog's over, I'll definitely show y'all. And I got this new thing yesterday that has all my skincare and extra medication in it, and I love it so much. It's from TJ Maxx. But that's all that I have for y'all that I wanted to show y'all, so I'll come back to y'all when I read more of this, which I might just update y'all when I finish, but yeah. I'm sorry, y'all, but I just need to say, the man, he said that he was going to take a shower, and he brought a cat that he found in the yard with him, as well as a corn on the cob. What is he doing with that cat and corn on the cob in the shower? It just goes to the next chapter, so I don't know. But I don't like the thoughts that's putting into my head.
Posting up pictures, trying to look like you winning, or look like you always be working. Soaking the moments you live in, yeah. You got the nerve to be on me, faking your life for the IG. If you got my number, don't add me, 'cause baby, I'm on hiatus. I'm on hiatus. I'm on hiatus. I'm on hiatus. Baby, don't check for me. Taking time out to be and live my life off screen. Taking time out to be and live my life. I'm in a place serene and pure and free. Hey, I ain't worried about what's the wave, only worry about me, yeah. Oh, I'm taking time out to be and live my life off screen. Taking time out to be and live my life.
Unfortunately, I lost the footage for the wrap-up clip for 100% Match, but I ended up giving this one 4 stars because it was super gross and I liked it, but it wasn't as extreme as I thought it was going to be. And while it was super gross, it wasn't anything that truly like disturbed me, or it wasn't anything that deep, but I really enjoyed the writing, and I really, 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 really liked the ending. I think it was really clever and fun. it was just a really fun read. I had such a good time with it, and I would definitely recommend it, especially if you're new to extreme horror, because it's more gross than anything else, and it's not anything that's going to be super triggering. It's just kind of gross, but there's not really, I would say, that much triggering material, and it doesn't go super duper dark at all. But yeah, I really liked it. I'm giving it 4 stars. Now onto the next book. So I'm back with an update with a new book I started called It's Me, Charlie. This is another novella. It's 68 pages, I believe, so less than 70 pages. I'm 30% of the way into this one, so I still have quite a bit to go. And this one is actually kind of scary for all of us who make YouTube videos, because this is actually about this man who became this girl's book bestie. He posed as a woman online and faked a whole account, a Bookstagram account, and talks about the books that he reads, but it's really a girl, and he becomes this book bestie with this girl who is part of the book community, and she's also a self-published writer, I believe, or maybe she's traditionally published. No, she's self-published writer for sure, yeah. And so he somehow, I don't know how, if she decided to come and visit or if he's kidnapping her or what, but some reason she's coming to his house, and he believes that he knows like what she wants. He tried being the nice guy in his life, and that never worked for him, and in the books that she writes, in a lot of the smut that girls read, he begins to believe that that's what they actually want, to be degraded and to be locked up and tied up. And while obviously some people do want that, not everybody wants that, and a lot of times in books it's exaggerated to a more extreme point. And so he is going to try and replicate this for her, which I believe is probably going to result in some like torture. And I know this is extreme horror, so that's all that's really happened so far, is him like preparing for her to come over and talking about her. Nothing that extreme at all has happened so far. There has been like one talk of some animal cruelty, and that's really it. Nothing horrific really has happened as much yet. And this one is kind of similar to 100% Match, with it's about this dirty crusty man who is kind of an incel and wants to please his perfect match in his head. And in 100% Match, he's trying to find his match. In this, he already knows his match, but he, I would say, is not as dirty and gross as the main character in 100% Match so far. But I'm really liking this one, and it is quite terrifying and scary for me. So I'm going to continue reading this. And obviously, oh, I forgot to address the elephant in the room, is I took out my braids, so the curls are back. And yeah, so I'm going to continue reading it, and I will come back to y'all when I have more of an update and thoughts on it. I am back because I have finished It's Me, Charlie. I don't remember if I updated y'all on this book, but I'm giving it 3.5 stars. It had 2 scenes in it that definitely made me gag, and I thought that it was a really unique take on a concept that we haven't really thought that much about, and like the consequences of our actions. It was like quick, it was short, it wasn't as like extreme or graphic as I thought it was gonna be. It just had those 2 scenes that have to do with bodily fluids. It's more like bodily fluid type gross than like actually like violent or extreme. Most of the violence takes place off page, so I'm giving it 3.5 stars. I think it could have been more violent, more gory, more gross, but you know, it had a really interesting concept that I enjoyed, and those 2 scenes made me gag, so 3.5 stars. And then I have decided my last 2 books for this reading vlog are going to be No One Rides for Free by Judith Sonnet. This one's only 70 something pages, and then also The Groomer by John Athan. A lot of my friends say that their favorite extreme horror author is John Athan, so I am picking up this book finally. This one is like a normal novel length. It's around 350 pages. So I wanted to update y'all on No One Rides for Free, I think is what it's called, by Judith Sonnet. No One Rides for Free. I'm 56% of the way in, and nothing too extreme or graphic has happened yet, but it is definitely coming. In this, we follow this woman, and she is driving her 2 adult children that go to the same college. They are not like twins, they're just siblings. It's a boy and a girl, and her name's Jody. Their names are Poppy and Ralph, and she's driving them back to college for, you know, their semester. And while she stops at a rest stop and goes inside, this man enters her car, and when she gets back in, he's holding her and her children at gunpoint, basically telling them that they have to do whatever he wants them to do for their lives. And so We follow them as they are driving, and as I said, 56% of the way in, nothing too extreme has happened. He appeared at about 20%, and this past 30% has kind of then been driving around. And as you can see, I watch Bob's Burgers a lot of times when I read extreme horror or things on my Kindle to kind of lighten the mood. So that's why I have Bob's Burgers on right now. But I wanted to read y'all this warning. At 56%, it says, warning, the following pages of No One Writes for Free are so graphic, disturbing, and depraved. We are legally obligated to give you time to put it down and decide whether or not you want to continue reading. If you read on, then you are consenting to witness the horrors ahead, which are at times unimaginable. You are also expected to read on your own risk, knowing full well that the producers of this book are not responsible for any side effects that you may or may not suffer. If you are all squeamish, sensitive, or easily offended, we recommend you find a happier story. If you do continue reading and find yourself growing weak with shock to stave off sickness, fainting, and even death, repeat to yourself, it's only a book, it's only a book, it's only a book. I think I've heard of like the direction that this goes in, so I'm pretty sure I know where it's going, and I've definitely read Judith Sonnet before, so I know that she can definitely push the limits. She was the first author to ever make me physically gag while reading a book because I was so disgusted. So yeah, but I feel like this one, it might go, I feel like it's definitely gonna be gross, but I think it's gonna go more psychological, and that doesn't bother me as much. I'm very much like a bodily fluid person. That's why It's Me, Charlie also made me gag, because there was bodily fluids. So we'll see how many bodily fluids are involved in this. But that warning, I've seen it around before, so I'm interested to see like if this is worse than what I've read before from Judith, or worse just in general, like of what I've read. So I'm interested for sure. And so I'm gonna hopefully finish it tonight. I have about 1 more hour of like awake time because I actually start my job tomorrow, nannying, so I have to be there at 9 a.m. bright and early. So I'm hoping to finish this tonight, and I will come back to y'all once I finish. I finished really quickly No One Writes for Free. It is up there with like what I've read previously. It went to the place that I thought it was gonna go. It actually ended better than I would say her last work did that I read by Judith, which was For the Sake Of. I almost threw up again, was gagging because bodily fluids, but I would say that For the Sake Of was more bodily fluid heavy. Judith Sonnet has amazing, beautiful writing. I love the way that Judith writes. I mean, beautiful is kind of like a hard word because it's extreme horror, but I absolutely adore Judith's writing, and I think it's phenomenal. I think Judith is a really good extreme horror author. And what I would like to say is I'm reading the afterword right now. This is actually what Judith describes her shortest, meanest, and fastest book to date, which definitely it is pretty short, quick, and if you're looking for something like this and you can handle the content, then I would say go for it for sure. I think I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I really liked this a lot. Like is a hard word, but I really did enjoy it. And this one is inspired by the rape and revenge subgenre, is what she wrote in the afterword, and it's inspired by Wes Craven's masterwork The Last House on the Left, which I haven't seen, and then some other movies like House on the Edge of the Park, Naked Vengeance, Thriller, A Cruel Picture, and The Night Train Murders. And it all helped inspire this nasty grindhouse-esque tale. What I do like about Judith and what she writes in the afterword is that she writes these books to be offensive and cruel and not sugarcoat anything. How she says like a lot of thrillers try to mute the trauma with social commentary and artful dialogue, but she writes her books to make you feel terrible and to make you feel bad and to make you feel dirty, because sometimes life is like that. While I feel like a lot of extreme horror probably writes things for the purpose of just getting a reaction, and people could say like that's what Judith is doing as well, I feel like this story and other stories don't just do something for the reaction, but they do it to show you the horrors of humanity and the horrors of real life, because trauma and humanity is not always squeaky clean and meaningful. Sometimes horrible things happen to good people just cause. And is there even good people? Is there bad people? There's a whole bunch of discussion that these type of books bring up. While I think it is really beautiful that we as people try to look for the meaning in everything, and meaning is so obviously important to us as people because that's where we find connection. But I think that there can also be meaning in these stories that try not to have meaning, because life is like this. Life is dirty, it's gritty, it's horrific, and this is just an extreme version of that to really reflect the horrors that we face on a daily basis, and that some humans are just looking to cause horror, and that's all that they want. They don't want anything else. They don't want money, they don't want revenge, they don't want any of that. They just want to cause horror to other people. And I think that is something that is really prevalent throughout the 2 works that I read by Judith, and this is like why I read extreme horror for stories like this. I know I'm not like the most extreme horror expert girly. I've read some, I haven't read a lot, but this is why I like the genre and why I want to keep reading it, and why I look out other creators that read this genre, because it's stories like this that really show me why this genre is important, even if it's not for everybody. I understand that it's not everybody's cup of tea, and like some people, if they read this book, they would be forever traumatized. I'm just not one of those people, because I feel like I've been highly desensitized over time. So this is like, it's not nothing, it's definitely triggering, but normal horror is not always going to get a reaction from me. And sometimes I like that. Sometimes I just like a little story that's horror, but it doesn't get anything from me. It's just fun to me. But other times I do want to be reminded of the horrors of humanity, and that's also why I enjoy true crime, even though true crime has a lot of other discussions around, obviously the ethicality of it. I feel like true crime brings me back to reality. Horror can be such like a fun thing, and I love that, but I feel like sometimes when we read horror, we forget how real it can be and the horrors of real life. And true crime and extreme horror are 2 things that really remind me that people are horrific, humanity is horrific, life can be traumatizing and dirty and horrific, and sometimes that's just how it is, and there's not always a happy ending for everybody, unfortunately. And yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I'm giving that 5 stars, and we are moving on to the last book, which JK, we have 1 more book after this one, so 2 more, which is The Groomer by John Athan, which I feel like is also going to be a 5-star, which makes me really excited. So now I have started The Groomer by John Athan. I'm about halfway through, and I'm really liking it. In this, we follow a man, his name is Andrew, and one day he finds out that this man at the park was taking pictures of his daughter, or he supposedly thinks, and then they call the police, and he talks his way out of it. So that really frustrates him, but then he starts to see him when they're at dinner and at the grocery store. And so this does follow groomers and kidnappers, and we do get their perspective as well on what they're doing to children, and it's specifically called like hurt core, which I didn't know was like a specific name, but it's when they film videos hurting children, and it's like similar to snuff films but for children, and more like with hurting, as I said. Obviously I find it super disturbing and graphic, and we get a lot of like perspective on how they're doing this. Like, one child became friends with somebody online after months of playing games with them, and they offered to meet up to give them a gift card, and boom, they snatched. So I think that this is obviously a great book to discuss like the dangers of predators and all the different ways that they can, wiggle their way into children's lives. And even parents who are super protective over their children sometimes will have instances, or there will be occasions where it's just not enough. I think actually educating your children on the dangers themselves, even though some parents definitely had where like they're like, don't take candy from strangers or stuff like that, but I think fully educating, being like, there are people who could want to hurt you, so don't meet up with people. If you want to meet up with somebody, or you want to be friends with somebody, just tell us. We're not going to be mad, but we just want to make sure that you're safe. Something like that. I'm not like hate shaming parents, I'm just saying I think this brings up that good discussion about that. And so as I said, I'm about halfway through, and I've heard that this does turn into like a revenge story, so we'll see how it goes, but I could definitely see the revenge story already starting, and I could enjoy that, I could not, but I'm excited to continue on and see how the rest of the story is going to go, see if it's going to get more graphic, because it's been graphic but not like outrageously so. But I'm excited to see if we're gonna get a little bit more of like that extreme aspect, a little bit more graphic, a little bit more just like in your face horror. Sorry if I'm like a little down, I just like woke up not too long ago, so I'm a little, but I have to head to work soon, so I'm going to continue listening to this book in the car, and I will come back to y'all hopefully when I finish the book. last night I ended up finishing The Groomer by John Athan, and I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I actually had a pretty good time reading this. Well, good time is kind of subjective in this genre because obviously it's pretty horrific and graphic, but I don't know if I fully described this book, but it is about this man and his daughter ends up disappearing after these kind of weird circumstances and run-ins that they had with this man, and we also follow some other perspectives throughout the story, and it is about a groomer and like grooming children for this thing called hurtcore, which is basically like videos where people like to see people get hurt, and they specifically like children in this circumstance. And so I ended up giving this one 4 stars because I really liked the themes and messages, and there are these people called MAPs, like minor attracted people or something, and John Athan, I listened to the acknowledgments, and John Athan actually came across these people on Twitter, and they kind of make themselves out to be like victims and that society treats them well and that they're part of like the LGBTQ community and that they just care about children and they don't want to hurt children, but obviously they're pedophiles. And so this is kind of like where John Athan came up with this idea, and for some reason, while I did really enjoy like the themes and the writing and everything, like the execution of the story, I loved everything about it, something about being in this man's head was very not fun for me. The main character, he is obviously a man, and it's about his daughter, and sometimes being in men's heads bothers me, sometimes it doesn't. Like in Razorblade Tears, that didn't bother me, even though those characters were racist and homophobic, it didn't bother me, but you could definitely tell this is written by a man, and it is a man, and this is kind of like a vigilante revenge story in the end, which I do enjoy a lot, but I've actually never really read one besides Razorblade Tears that is with men. Like, I love it when it's with women, and obviously I was kind of like rooting in a way for the character who is becoming like this vigilante revenge person. I was rooting for them, but at the same time I was like, okay, well, we're doing some questionable actions, and normally I don't think like that when it's like revenge stories for women, because I'm just like, okay, I support women's rights and wrongs. So I don't know, I feel like it's more of like a me problem than a John Athan or a writing problem, but being in this man's head was just not super fun for me overall because he just was a very man, you know what I'm saying, very man, and it just wasn't like the funnest time for me because men's minds are an interesting place and is very different than my mind personally. So yeah, I really enjoyed the themes and the messages that were told throughout the story, and I really enjoyed the ending, and the writing was pretty good. Some of it was really graphic and gruesome. This was definitely not like the most graphic book I've ever read. I know some people said they DNF'd it because it was too like nauseating, and that's just crazy to me because like this to me is like, oh, like it's good, but to me it's like maybe a little bit more graphic than like Pretty Girls. Like it's not anything super crazy, but he does say that he writes a lot of splatterpunk, and so as I said, overall I'm giving this one 4 stars, and I'm excited to try out more John Athan because I've heard some of my friends say that John Athan is like their all-time favorite extreme horror author, so I'm excited to try out more of his work. But I actually am going to be tacking on a 6th book onto this reading vlog, surprisingly, and that is Them by mique Watson. But this was actually sent to me by my friend mique from mique's book vlogs. Obviously, mique came out with this book called Them, and I decided, oh, like, why not just tack it onto this reading vlog to give mique a little bit more promotion. And so I'm going to be reading this book in this vlog. I'm 25% of the way into Them, and I'm really enjoying it so far. In this, we follow our main character, Jeanette, and she kind of lives alone, but lives a very mundane life, and all of a sudden her life is turned upside down when there is this emergency broadcast stating that people are basically getting murdered by people that they know, or that appears to be people that they know, and I believe they're gonna be like clones or aliens or something along those lines, but maybe we just never find out. But these people are not actually like the people. These people just look like them, and they all have like these really dead eyes but this big creepy smile, so they're like okay, scary. Literally how I'm imagining them is like how it is in Smile, and I'm hoping to blast through this tonight so I can start editing this vlog and get my review up for this book, because mique sent me this book about 6 days ago, I think last Monday, and today's Sunday, and I still haven't read it yet. But normally it takes me like 1 to 2 weeks to read like an arc, and normally I have at least that long, but the book officially launched like a day or 2 after he sent the arc, so I felt extremely bad because arcs are supposed to read like before, but I did actually order a copy of this so I will be having the physical book with me because I wanted to support mique and have him on my shelves and so the book should be coming in soon. And I'm actually back here sprinting with my patrons, so if you haven't joined my Patreon, it's a fun time over there. I have a $3 tier, a $5 tier, and a $10 tier, and you get reading sprints at the very lowest tier of $3. So it's a really fun time over there, and I will probably be showing y'all the physical copy and having it in my hands, but I'm hoping to get through a good chunk of this on this. This is our last sprint, but there are going to be Escape the Readathon sprints tonight as well. But I do have another video I want to try and edit, and I also need to work on some work for my Spanish class because I'm taking Spanish, unfortunately. So I am really enjoying the writing in this one a lot. I think McKay's writing is really, really beautiful, and a lot of times when men authors write women, I feel like you could definitely tell. I cannot tell that at all with this. I would not ever assume that this was written by a man and it's a woman's perspective, so I really give points to McKay for that, because a lot of times that definitely happens. And I like his writing a lot. I think it's very like descriptive, but not overly descriptive in a way where it's bogging down the story. I know like some people think like, oh, like Eric LaRocca bogs down the story, and like I don't feel that way, but I could definitely see that. And McKay's writing is nowhere near that level of description, but it's still descriptive enough where I feel like I can visualize everything that's going on. And there are some very like, what are they called? There's some very disturbing imagery told through his writing, so I'm really liking that. So I'm going to actually shut up now and go read this so I can come back later and update y'all on it. What the hell did I just read? What am I reading? McKay? It's not stopping. I'm just baffled. Baby Beast? What is Baby Beast? I don't even want to know. Baby Beast. An expired rat carcass. Okay, well, I see what everybody was talking about with this one scene that they said. This one scene is something. It's very well written. Very well written. Yeah. Okay, well, I thought this whole time I was gonna be cute and quirky and name this reading vlog like reading disturbing books for a week, like little line. I literally threw up, and I was like, like that's gonna be so fun and quirky, even though I'm not gonna throw up, like maybe a little gag, but I'm just gonna like dramatize it for the point of the thumbnail, for the drama of it all. Babe, I threw up. I literally just actually threw up. This is the first book to have ever made me throw up, and I get it. I'm not gonna show y'all because yeah, you're just gonna have to believe me. Like I swear to God, McKay literally made me throw up. McKay made me throw up, and I'll see if I throw up again. Like I literally had to run to the bathroom. Like they literally saw it on my sprint, me going before I could end my camera. So I ended up finishing Them by McKay, and it's actually been a while. But of course I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. It did not make me throw up again, but there was another really gross scene. So there's one around like 20 to 30% and then one at 60%, and they are very similar for a reason. I think this book had a lot to say about the horrors of humanity, similar to the one I read by Judith Sonnet, but this went in a completely different way to kind of express the same thing and show the horrors of humanity and how humanity is actually terrible, and that a lot of people do a lot of horrible things if given the opportunity, which I really, really loved. I don't want to get too much into this book because I feel like it's best to go in knowing little to nothing, but I'll just say the writing was phenomenal. I love the writing. I love the perspective. I love the characters. The end literally had me like with tears in my eyes. I didn't cry, but I definitely had some swelling up of tears in my eyes, and it was just so good. The writing, as I said, phenomenal. Characters, phenomenal. Ending, phenomenal. And the themes, phenomenal. I just loved it all. I love the premise. I love everything about it. So now to wrap up the reading vlog, I'm just going to go through, because I realized for some of these I didn't say my ratings, and I'm going to go through and tell y'all my ratings now and kind of like my thoughts. Oh, Goodreads changed things. So the first one that I read was Exquisite Corpse, which I bumped down to a 2.5 from a 3 because I realized that there was a lot of things I liked about it, a lot of things that I didn't, and it kind of just ended up in the middle of the road for me, which is a 2.5. I feel like it did a lot of things well with like the themes and the writing, but I think with like the characters and the pacing, it struggled a lot. So it ended up being a 2.5. Then I read 100% Match, which I gave 4 stars. It was really like quick and fun for an extreme horror, and it was super gross, which I loved, but it wasn't like too extreme. If you're looking for something that's not as extreme, that's probably the least extreme one, as well as It's Me, Charlie, which I gave 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed the premise of this one, but it still didn't go that far. Like, it wasn't that horrific to me at all. I think 100% Match kind of goes in a more extreme horror direction at the end. It's not graphic or anything, but it's just like a very interesting ending, while this one I feel like ended like a normal horror. Like, someone could tell me that this is a normal horror and I would be like, yeah, but it is kind of extreme to me and disturbing to me because I am a content creator and something like that could definitely happen to me. Then I read No One Rides for Free, which I ended up giving 5 stars. I really like this one. It is super quick and dirty and mean, as Judith said. I love the writing of it all, and this really went to like the themes of the horrors of humanity, just like them, and I really just adore the way that Judith writes extreme horror, and I think it's done with so much care, but it doesn't sugarcoat anything to make us feel better. Then I read The Groomer by John Athan, which I originally gave 3.5 stars, but I bumped down to a 3 because while I liked the execution, I like the story, and I like the reason for the story was written, something about the perspective just didn't click with me at all. And even though I like that it went into like a revenge story, I think that the pacing was a bit slow at times, and it wasn't as extreme as I thought it was going to be, and I think it could have gone there, and it didn't, which kind of disappointed me a little bit. So I think with the disappointment and also like just not clicking with the perspective, it's around a 3 star for me. And then I read Them by mique, which I gave 5 stars, and I just told y'all my thoughts about. So that's what I read. 6 books, and I had a great time filming this. Let me know if y'all want more like extreme horror or disturbing reading vlogs in the future. I can definitely deliver some more to y'all, but just let me know down in the comments. And if you made it to the end, put the little alien emoji down below to let me know that you made it to the end, and I will see y'all in my next one. Bye, everybody.
I'm writing rhymes in the kitchen, soaking the moments we live in, yeah. You got the nerve to be